Hey everybody, well this is my finished Doug Jackson word clock. This is the desktop model, and this is a clock that I put together from a kit. I couldn't decide whether I wanted the kit or if I wanted one that was pre-assembled. I'm glad that I did the kit because it was a fun little project. Took a little bit under 2 hours, I think. And so what I did when I was making the clock was that I also did a little video showing kind of the steps that are required to put together the clock and some of the accessories that you're going to need that don't come with the kit. And also I made a couple mistakes. They weren't terrible, but things that I would do over again if I was to do another clock, which I think I want to try the big one next. Now I'm addicted. So please join me for the next couple of minutes as I show you how to put together one of Doug's great clocks and give you a little hint as to whether or not maybe you want to try a kit or if you want to purchase a clock that's already assembled by Doug. Okay, I want to show you the accessories that you'll need to complete the kit. You'll need a soldering iron, and you don't have to go really wild. This is fairly inexpensive. I've had this for quite some time. Great for also making those repairs around the house whenever you need a soldering iron. You'll need some solder, of course. One thing that I found really helpful was a pair of hemostats, or you can get some small needle nose pliers to help you bend the pins on some of the components before you put it into the circuit board. Really quite helpful. One thing you definitely want are some wire snips, and that's because once you make your solder connections you want to clip those wires as close to the circuit board surface as you can so everything fits nicely in the kit. So definitely going to want some wire snips. Now on the acrylic side, you're going to need some acrylic cement, and I got this at my local hobby supply store. It's more or less like a solvent. It pretty much melts the two pieces of acrylic together. And one thing you definitely want when you're working with this is a little applicator bottle that has a very fine needle on it that actually you can make a small bead of the acrylic cement, and it works really well. I don't think I would do the project without getting this applicator, and it's very inexpensive. And one last thing, because safety comes first, if you don't have a pair of safety goggles, go ahead and get some. I happen to use reading glasses when I solder, so I'm protected. But you're also working with solvents and you're working with hot solder. You definitely want to protect your eyes. Let's take a quick look at the main circuit board of the clock, and as you notice, it's a work of art unto itself, and Doug's really done a terrific job. He's also done all the hard work and soldered on all the integrated circuits for you. You only really have to solder on a power connector, the little speaker, and a couple of the switches that control how you set the clock. And right here, I'll show you a little bit later, is where you're going to go ahead and solder on the crystal that keeps time for the clock. Also on the back, you'll notice all of these soldered on LEDs, surface mounted LEDs, and you don't have to solder those either. So really the kit is pretty much finished, but it still gives you pride in that you have to put together the clock and put together the enclosure. Let's do a quick rundown of the plastic pieces that come with the kit, and this is the all-important laser cut stencil, and the LED light shines through these cutout portions to make the words on the front of the clock. The next important piece that comes with the kit is this black plexiglass or acrylic baffle, and you notice it goes perfectly over these LEDs that turn on to spell the different words. And so what it does is prevent these the light here, from shining and bleeding into the other areas of the clock. So it's a nice clean delineation of your words on the front of the clock. You get two of these baffles because they make up the perfect thickness for the frame. And speaking of the frame, you get the laser cut bottom piece, the two laser cut side pieces, the laser cut top piece, and you can see those little 3 holes there where the 3 switches go through to set the clock. And you get another little piece, and this acts as kind of a retaining pin. You glue this on last, and it keeps in the guts of the clock so that when you pull the 12-volt converter out of the socket in the back, the whole rest of the clock doesn't come with it. Everything's really well thought out. And of course you get the back of the clock as well. Okay, so here's the completed circuit board with the components on there. There's the power connector, and this is the little crystal I was talking about that keeps time. What I did was take some very low tack adhesive tape, and I taped it to the board to keep it in place while I soldered these two connections here. Really helpful. I put the speaker in and these three little switches that help you set the clock and the alarm. I had the most trouble with these switches. The legs didn't quite get in the holes the first time around, so that's where I used my little hemostats, and I moved the legs around so they would go through the holes better. I'll turn this around so you can see my solder job. Not terrible, but not great. On Doug's video, it's like watching a professional basketball player shoot free throws. It's so effortless for him. Here's the connections for the speaker, and here's the connections for the three little switches. And the lousiest job I did down here was for the power connector. I may have to take those little snips again and snip them off closer to the circuit board. I'll find out when I assemble this. So next step is to put this completed board in my completed frame. Okay, so I've obviously put the frame together. I put my clock inside. Everything looks really good. I love it. I didn't show you the actual step-by-step on how to put the frame together because Doug has a marvelous video on YouTube that takes you step-by-step on how to assemble the frame. As a matter of fact, he's got two great videos, one to show you how to do the soldering and the wiring, and another one how to do the frame. So I didn't even read any instructions at all. Everything was done just by watching the videos. If I had things to do over again, I think I would have taken a little bit more care when I actually did the gluing of the frame, because I didn't realize how fast the solvent comes out of the nozzle of this applicator. So you might want to practice first before you go ahead and do the gluing of the frame. So I hope this video really helped you to show you what was involved in making the clock and whether or not you want to give the kit a try. Now I got to tell you that my particular skill set is somewhere on the low end of how to solder and how to do plastics work. So if I can do it, I know you can do it. So thanks again for watching. I hope this video was helpful. Bye-bye, guys.